Let's bring in Republican Congressman Will Hurd of Texas. He chaired the IT subcommittee during that 14-month investigation into the Equifax breach. And Congressman, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
And thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You know, our Kate Vizzini has reported that this Equifax data from 143 million Americans has never been found. She said the consensus is it was stolen by a foreign government. I mean, yes, you've said, look, Equifax could have done more than rivals, but are companies overall, Marriott being another one, doing enough here?
Well, I think in the Equifax example, they didn't do enough. The reason the breach was able to happen is because there was a known vulnerability in their software that they didn't fix by issuing a patch. And that their software went unpatched for, I think it was 145, 175 days. For an institution that large and that sophisticated, that's actually unacceptable. In large companies, you're facing almost 54 million attacks a year. That's a crazy amount of attacks. But you need to be doing the basics, and the basics is make sure the software that you have is patched, make sure that the people using your systems have strong passwords, and make sure the people that are using your systems also don't click on things they don't have. And people shouldn't have access to things they don't need access to.
Right.
But one thing that we can be improving is the exchange of information between the public and the private sector on these threats. When you have nation-state attackers coming after our companies, the only way you're going to be able to defend against that is with another nation-state. And I think the way we exchange information can be improved, and this is something that Department of Homeland Security is looking in, the intelligence community is working on, and this is a way that we can improve that kind of cooperation.
Let me then ask you, because this feeds right into this other story, that Iranian hackers have hit hundreds of companies in the past 2 years. So, as you said, there are some with vulnerabilities like Equifax, I guess, as you're saying, should be punished for having that in place. What about everybody else? I mean, what kind of standards are we talking about?
Well, there's always been a debate since I've been in Congress about should there be a national breach standard, that if your digital infrastructure is used to expose somebody's private information, what should be the punishment. There hasn't been an agreement up here in Washington, D.C. on that. Right now, we're dealing with about 47 different state laws that manage how a breach is handled, and we need to have a national breach standard. But everybody needs to recognize that you're a threat. You're not just a threat now because someone wants to steal your credit card information and use it wrong. You know, when you look at how Equifax, the information they have on individuals, right? I never opted in to Equifax.
Right.
Nobody
Exactly.
willingly gave their information to Equifax. They were able to collect all that, and it's used for so many other ways to authenticate, to get into your bank statements and things like that. And so we have to rethink, who should have access to an individual's information, who owns that. In my opinion, it's the individual. But again, we have to work together between the public and the private sector in order to defend our digital infrastructure.